Hey, so are you interested in taking on a high-profile nanny position? If this is you, stick around for this video because I'm going to teach you all the non-negotiables that you need. Well, just like 4 non-negotiables that you should know before taking on one of these positions. I know they look amazing when they show them to you, and the money looks amazing, and the opportunities and experiences look amazing, but make sure you have these non-negotiables I'm going to talk about in this video laid out. So stick around to the end because I'll save the best for last. All right, so let's get into it. Let's talk about contracts first. Contracts are very important. They protect you and the family. So I know some families look at it like it's just protecting the nanny, but no, they're protecting both of them. So make sure you have a contract in place. And make sure you take your time when reading over this contract. Don't feel like you have to like read it, sign it, or just sign it right there, right then and there when they give it to you, because you don't. Ask them if you can have a few days before you sign it, or even go over it with them if they have time. Ask them if they can walk you through it, you know, because who knows, their lawyer might have made it and they don't even know what's in the contract, honestly. But yeah, so that's very important that you go over with the family. When I started, I probably didn't have my first contract until like my 5th family, you know, and now I'm seeing how more normalized it is in the high profile positions. Like, remember, we're talking about high profile families here and high profile positions. So these families don't really know what's in the contract. You know, you probably won't even go over it with the family. You'll go over it with the house manager or whoever hired you on with the family. Make sure you do have that time to go over that contract and know everything, like your job responsibilities and everything in that contract. So yes, that's number 1. Make sure you have a contract signed, you know, that you both agree to. Don't try to skip over this part just because you don't want to give the family or the hiring person any pushback, because this is important. You don't want to go backtrack and say, oh, you know, I think we need a contract now after you've been working there for 6 months. Like, no, make sure you have that in the beginning. And that also shows them how professional and how serious you are about this field. So yes, contract. Now let's talk about like the families respecting your time and your boundaries, you know, like having those boundaries set, because, you know, these high profile families, they have demanding schedules, you know, so you want to be in this high profile career, but you don't want to forget about your life, your family, your friends, things that you enjoy doing before this position. Yes, the money is great, and all of that good stuff, but make sure you put yourself first too. Like, I know you want to go above and beyond, and especially when you first begin and you first start, but don't do things that, you know, that aren't in your contract. Don't start washing dishes and doing things that you don't want to be expected to do. So yeah, make sure, you know, like they're not messaging you on your days off and having you come in and work extra hours and you're just like, yes, being a yes man. Do not do everything for these families, because you will get sucked into that, and I don't want you to get, you know, burnt out, because burnout is a big thing in this industry. Like, when it's just too much and you don't want to let them down, but you're constantly letting yourself down. So yes, make sure they respect your time, your boundaries, your off time, all that stuff. Make sure you take time for yourself, you know, in between these positions, in between these shifts, okay? And yes, I know that the experiences, the opportunities, and all that is amazing to pay, but what is the point of doing all this, of doing anything, if you can't enjoy your time? Like, yeah, they're enjoying their life, but you're not enjoying yours, you know? So you have a family, or you might not. You want to create one, you know, you want to hang out with your friends, you want to enjoy, you know, your money that you're making, you know, you want to enjoy your time off, you want to, you know, so what is the point of doing all this if you can't even enjoy your actual life? Remember, like, we have a life too, you know. So in this field, it's kind of like it's a thin line between like your life, their life, and prioritizing, balancing that. So I just want you guys to know that it does get to that point. So now we're going to talk about your compensation package. We want to make sure that you have a fair compensation package, like your pay is reflecting your expectations and your job duties, because all of these high profile positions come with high expectations. So you want to make sure that you're getting paid accordingly for, you know, your education, your experience, how many children they have, the actual job duties. Some families require you to take care of a dog. Well, not take care of a dog, maybe take the dog out here and there. Some don't. Some do require that you drive, you know, often. Some require that you drive your own car, you know, so make sure that's in, you know, your contract. We're going back to contract. contracts, make sure that's all in there. But these are different things that you need to make sure you're getting compensated for, right? So like, yeah, as a whole, if you look at the job and they offer you the position and they're saying like it's $150,000 a year and you got to do all this stuff, right? You want to make sure all those little details that you look at and make sense to you, because it might say something like you have to drive 100 miles a week or something. Like you're like 150K, I'm driving 100 miles. Like as the position goes on, you'll see that it's not like really working out for you. So you want to make sure in the beginning it all makes sense, like it's all adding up. And a big thing here in this part about compensation, like don't think, well, factor in the cost of living of wherever the area is. Like if you're moving somewhere, if you're doing a living position, a rota position, whatever it is, make sure you factor in the cost of living, because you might be from somewhere that's a small town and the position is like $100,000, right, in California. But $100,000 in California, that's not like up there, you know, like the bare minimum. Like that's what you need to like survive in California and have like a basic lifestyle. So you need to make sure that where the position is, the pay reflects that too, because cost of living, you don't want to move somewhere, you know, that has higher cost of living and you're making a lot more, it looks like, but it's actually a lot less, or it's the same as what you were making where you were, you know? So because you're moving from somewhere you're comfortable, where you know people, where you have family and friends, to somewhere foreign and thinking you're going to make a lot more money, and you're probably making the same amount if you do the calculation. So make sure you factor that in, because a lot of people get stuck into that too. Like when they see the positions, like, oh, I'm going to California, I'm going to be making $100,000 per year now. I was making 60 and Pennsylvania, you know, I'm using the places where I've been, where I lived, where I'm from, because this is me, like this is coming from me, like I'm like, oh, because this is how I see it when I read these positions, like wow, that's a lot of money. But then as I got through the different positions, I'm like, oh wow, that's really not a lot of money once you start, you know, getting in the position and trying to live there and, you know, adapt to everything that, all the fees you have to pay. So yeah, make sure you are looking into where you are moving to, okay? Like if you live very minimal, then 100K might be okay for you. Even less might be okay for you. But everyone's situation is different. But I just want you guys to know that I want you guys to think about that before you take a position. Wow, I haven't even gotten to the best part of the video yet. The best part, well, the most common issue I see when people take positions yet. So anyways, I'm going to get to it after this. So let's talk about NDAs. These high-profile families usually have you sign an NDA, and that's a non-disclosure agreement. It's pretty much saying that they don't want you to take pictures or record anything. You can't disclose where you are. Obviously, like this is like high-profile families. They don't, you know, all of the employees sign an NDA. But if you're coming from babysitting or a teacher, you might not understand, you know, the requirements of an NDA. So that's what took me a while to get back on YouTube, because the last family I worked with, they allowed me to post their child and, you know, do like day in the lives of a nanny and things like that. And people like to see a day in the life, but like when you're a high profile nanny, a lot of people don't even know what you do, because you can't, you know, record things like that. It's very hard to get content to actually do YouTube. So that's why my page kind of changed to like more informative. I can still give you guys the value you need to get to these positions, but I just can't really give you the day-to-day, if you understand what I'm trying to say, if that makes sense. But yeah, so make sure you know what your NDA entails. I'm not saying, you know, you can become a nanny to be a YouTuber, no. But I just want to let you guys know that it's important that as you guys are signing an NDA, that, you know, you have to be prepared to keep their life private at all times. All right, and like I said, I'm saving the best for last, and that is W-2s or 1099s. That a lot of families have this misconception that you can give your nanny a 1099, and you cannot. It is illegal, because a 1099 are for independent contractors. Independent contractors are people who make their own schedules, make their own hours, can work and go as they please. If this is not what's laid out in your contract, if it's not like you can come whatever and work with the kids, you know, or something of that sort, then you are not a 1099 person candidate. You need to get a W-2. I know families like to try to get around that, but it's very important that you do this, because in the end of the time, at the end of the year, when it's tax time, you're gonna owe a lot of money if they did not issue you a W-2. Not a 1099, a W-2. This was me, you know, I didn't know, and I also didn't really look into it. I didn't even know that was a thing, you know, because when you're getting hired, you think that these people know all these things. Like most people, like that's their first child, you're their first nanny, you know, things of that sort. So they don't know a lot. So don't look at it like, oh, I don't want to tell them, like they should know or they do know. They really don't know. We're teaching them a lot because, like I said, this is their first child, first nanny, first experience, or it might be their second or third, but they just might have never came up to that issue before. So make sure you ask, or not even you ask, you request that you do receive a W-2, so that they know in the beginning what to expect. You know, like they need to get a payroll company to pay you. You know, like you need your taxes taken out, you need to fill out the form in the beginning of your job, you know, your start date to receive a W-2 at the end of the year for you to file, so you don't have to owe a lot of money. You know, this, because like I said, this was me. I owed because I did not ask. I did not even know until like I get into these groups, these Facebook groups, and I'm seeing people like, no, it is illegal. And then when you look at these contracts that I talked about in the beginning, which is very important, they let you know like it's illegal, like you have to get a W-2. Oh my gosh, I keep saying 1099, guys. I don't see, you're just so accustomed to it. 1099 is not what you are supposed to have. Why, guys? Why do you not want 1099? Because you are not an independent contractor. If you make your own schedule, if you set your own hours, if you can just go to work as you come and go as you please, then you are a 1099 employee. But if you do not, if the parents need you there at a certain time, certain days, you know, then you are a W-2 employee. I really, really want you guys to understand that. And if you have questions about this, please ask, because I see it all the time and I don't want you guys to fall into the same trap I did that I wish I would have known when I first started. We need to receive a what? Yes, that, you said it, W-2, okay? So yeah, that is the conclusion of the video. Like, I really want you guys to understand those non-negotiables when you are starting working for high-profile families. And once again, like, these are high-profile families, so they usually have people doing all this stuff for them. But just in case, because I have seen it in high-profile families that they're just hiring someone, you know, trying to save money, and they don't even know what they're doing, and they don't really care. So I want you guys to be well prepared for your new position. So good luck, guys. Please let me know what you thought. If you have any questions or any other topics I need to talk about, I will definitely talk about. Just put them in the comments. Thanks.